Today, we're looking at a nation absolutely on the edge. Iran is caught in a firestorm between a massive, popular uprising from within and a truly devastating military campaign from without. We're going to break down how one of the biggest geopolitical events in recent history all came to a boil.
And then, bam, it all came to a head with this jaw-dropping confirmation from the Institute for the Study of War. The supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, the guy who had ruled for decades, was dead. And this wasn't just some rumor floating around. This was the explosive end to months and months of chaos.
So the big question is, how on earth did it get to this point? I mean, to really understand the military strikes of February 2026, we've got to rewind the clock just a couple of months. We need to look at the fuse that was lit long before a single missile ever fell. You know, it all started not with some big political declaration or a call to arms, but with the quiet, grinding desperation of an economy in total freefall. By late 2025, the economic pain for everyday Iranians just became, well, it became completely unbearable. Okay, let's look at the raw numbers here because they tell the story. By December 2025, the official inflation rate hit a staggering 42%. But get this, that doesn't even paint the full picture. Food prices, they soared by 72%. Just imagine your grocery bill almost doubling in 1 year. For millions of Iranians, that was the grim reality. So what did that actually mean for regular people? Well, it meant a total collapse of the Iranian currency, the rial. It took 1.5 million rials just to equal a single US dollar. People's entire life savings were just wiped out. Businesses that needed to import goods, bankrupt. This, right here, this was the spark that was about to light a massive fire. And that kind of economic agony, well, it couldn't be contained. It spilled right out of the markets and onto the streets. And it ended up igniting the largest, most widespread uprising Iran had seen since the 1979 revolution. And the speed at which this all escalated was just breathtaking. I mean, look at this. It kicks off on December 28th, with merchants just closing their shops in protest. The very next day, the slogans weren't about the economy anymore. People were chanting freedom. The day after that, university students poured into the streets, and the whole movement went national, hitting its absolute peak in early January. And the scale here, it's just mind-boggling. European intelligence estimated that by January 9th, 5 million people were out on the streets protesting. And this wasn't just a Tehran thing. These protests were happening in all 31 provinces of Iran. This was a full-blown nationwide revolt. So, faced with this existential threat, the Islamic Republic didn't respond with reform. It didn't try to meet the people's demands. No, it responded with overwhelming, unimaginable, brutal force. The people were organizing with this really interesting mix of old and new tactics. You had the traditional national strikes, these timeless acts of defiance with chants of death to the dictator aimed right at Khamenei. And then you had modern, student-led online activism fueling the movement. The regime's response, on the other hand, was something else entirely. We're talking medieval stuff. They shut down the entire internet to stop people from organizing. And then came the direct order, reportedly from the highest levels of government, to use live ammunition on protesters. They even brought in foreign militias to help, and were accused of hiding bodies in mass graves and using torture and sexual violence on a mass scale. And the human cost of this crackdown, it's just sickening. The government officially admitted to just over 3,000 deaths. But human rights groups and international media, their estimates put the real death toll as high as 36,500 people, and most of them were killed in just a few days in early January. So this internal slaughter, it set the stage for a massive external intervention. While the regime was busy massacring its own people, the international dimension of this crisis was escalating dramatically. So, on February 28th, the US and Israel launched a joint military campaign. And according to the Institute for the Study of War, this operation had 3 super clear objectives. First, take out Iran's air defenses so they could operate freely. Second, destroy their missile program so they couldn't retaliate. And third, completely disrupt their entire command and control structure. And that third objective, that's the real kicker. This wasn't about hitting empty buildings. This was a full-on decapitation campaign. The targets included the supreme leader himself, the commander of the powerful IRGC, the defense minister, I mean, we're talking about essentially the entire top tier of Iran's political and military leadership. All of them.
The sheer speed and scale of this operation is just hard to wrap your head around. Almost 900 strikes in just the first 12 hours. This was an operation designed to completely shatter the Iranian regime's ability to govern, to fight back, and to suppress its own people, all at the exact same time. Which brings us right back to the present moment. You've got the regime's leadership in tatters, its military capabilities completely degraded, and millions of its own citizens in open rebellion. So we're left with this enormous question. With Iran pushed completely past the breaking point, what could possibly come next?